Hi, in this video I will tell you how to cure your asthma or treat your asthma the natural way. I will tell you the 3 most important things you need to know before you start. I will also tell you the 9 reasons why you probably got asthma, and at the end I will give you a bonus. So let's go. Hi, my name is Dennis Huizenga from Probreathing. The last 15 years I've helped hundreds of people out specifically with their asthma and many more with hyperventilation, anxiety attacks, etc. If you are new here, I suggest you click the subscribe button and I would really appreciate the like. Or if you have questions or you want to tell something about yourself, place it below in the comments. This will really help. All the links for this video, I will place them in the description bar or box below, so you can look at it. There's also a time lapse, so if you like to look at a specific moment in this video, you can check that out and go there instantly. The first thing you really need to know is, what is your breathing condition? Oh, okay, Dennis, I have asthma. I heard it from my doctor. Yes, okay, I understand. Or perhaps you're looking at this video and you're not sure you have asthma. It's really important that you know your breathing condition, kind of your level where you're at now. So you can have real severe asthma, or you can have asthma in a lighter version, or only have asthma when you do sports. So whatever you're going to start, for example, you want to learn how to play football, or you want to learn to play tennis, or whatever, you need to know the level where you are now. So not only for the trainer but also for yourself, it's really important to know your starting point. The second thing you really need to know is, what are the possibilities? With asthma there are a couple of possibilities to kind of cure yourself, but I'm saying kind of because when you take medication you kind of get a marriage with the medication. Normally you will never get rid of the medication. I see a lot of things on the internet in new involvements, new insights in how to treat asthma. But if you're going to place any non-natural things in your bronchi or whatever inside of your body to open things up so you don't contrast when you have an asthma attack, if you ask me, I think this is horrible. In some situations this can be a possibility, but in my opinion, in 90% of the cases, it's better to help yourself the natural way. So the source of asthma is overbreathing of the lungs. I will repeat this. The source of asthma is overbreathing the lungs, a kind of hyperventilation. Okay, let this sink in, please. So, the way you breathe is trainable. Normally, breathing is an unconscious process. You do not think about it. But if there's a disbalance, you start to do manually breathing. You start to think about it a lot. In my experience, a lot of people who experience or have asthma, they know they have asthma because they have asthma attacks, right? And it's a different group than people with hyperventilation or people with asthma. But the source is the same. This maybe sounds strange, but your body kind of decides it's going to contract the bronchi, then they will say it's asthma, or is your body going to contract your cardiovascular system, in other words your blood vessels, etc. Then it's more kind of a hyperventilation situation. Also, the symptoms can be really different. But here we're talking about the treatment of asthma. So, if you want to cure yourself the natural way, most of the times, and it's a lot, in my opinion it's in the 90% of all people who have asthma, if you train, you can get rid of it the natural way. But if you took too long, for example, you have asthma for 50 years, then it can be more difficult. But if you have asthma, I had many people who had asthma. I think now a lady pops up in my mind, a client, she had about 30 years of asthma. She was in my practice, I think, 2 years ago. And within 12 weeks, she got rid of all her medication. Was she cured of asthma? No, not yet. It took, I think, about 1.5 months later. So let's say within 4 to 5 months, severe asthma disease can be cured with breathing techniques. Only, here it comes. You need about 10 hours of training and learning before you can help yourself. It's not doable to do it in a YouTube video. And for me, it's kind of frustrating because at one point I really want to help people out, but if I make a video and explain what happens in your body when you have asthma, then I also can get comments about people giving really harsh lines, and they say, okay, yeah, this is nice, I've been listening to you for 6 minutes and you didn't explain how to do it. Yeah, you need 10 hours of training, you need lessons, you really need to know how you need to do this and also what happens inside of your body. So, to treat your asthma, you can do it the natural way. You need to make some simple changes in your lifestyle most of the times, and you need to exercise. But before you do that, you need to know how and when, etc. So you need to have more information. Then you need to have guidance because the body is trying to figure things out and will try to go left or right or whatever. So you need to have simple adjustments to keep you on track. This is really important to understand. But you can treat yourself if you know how. This is the good news, right? So what I hear about a lot of doctors, and I've spoken to a lot of them, especially in Europe, the idea is when you have hyperventilation or specifically asthma, it's non-curable. So you get the medicine for the rest of your life. This is simply, if you ask me, not true. So what you need to know then is to do exercises and what you need to do when you have an asthma attack, and also to know what are the triggers. For example, if you drink a lot of caffeine, your breathing starts to intensify. So you breathe more air in and out of your system. And here it comes. This is the main reason why people have asthma. Overventilating the lungs, breathing too much air in and out of the system. So what are the 9 reasons you got asthma in the first place? Number 1 is a huge contributor, is your mother. I'm sorry to say, it sounds a little bit harsh. I can also make a nice joke about it with clients, but if a woman hyperventilates or has asthma, in other words, 90% of the children who come out of that mother have a typical hyperventilation going on. And why is that? In our back of our heads, there's a breathing center. There is the gas exchange is set there. And that settlement, that setting, is kind of copied by the baby. Also, the way of breathing in the womb, the baby copies the same breathing pattern as well. So a lot of times when you check out, you see, in my practice I saw it a lot. Then I get people, let's say between 15 and 55, is the general population in my practice, and we're going to check out what's the breathing condition of the mother, and a lot of the times the mother has a kind of hyperventilation going on herself. But in some situations she doesn't have asthma, but does have hyperventilation. So it's really close to each other. The second reason is the idea that breathing a lot is healthy. A lot of people have the idea, I need to breathe in my nose, do a deep belly breathing and breathe out through my mouth. That idea settles down. That idea we tell our children. So if you want to relax, yes, at that moment, it's a good idea to do I breathe out. I make contact with my body, which kind of gets connected with gravity. Okay, just a couple of seconds, that's it. But after that, you're more in a relaxed state. You need to breathe as if you're not breathing. In other words, you don't hear yourself breathing. You don't see yourself breathing. So the idea is a really important reason as well. We tell our children that, and from that point on it goes on and on and on. The third reason is doing sports. A lot of personal trainers, they teach when you do a powerful movement, for example with weights, you breathe in, and when you breathe out, you press. Or when you run, or when you jump, or etc. And this is going to be a different video. It's interesting. I think this is really interesting part. But the idea with movement that you breathe too much and you need to breathe out is not the same as when you're sitting down. So in our normal daily lives, we need to be in a relaxed state. If you're, for example, sitting on a couch or behind your desk or in the car and you're breathing like you're sporting, then you have hyperventilation going on. And the movement of the last 10 years, which is going up, is with breath work or deep, intense breathing. It only makes it worse. So deep breathing does not help you get rid of asthma, it makes it worse. The fourth reason is too much talking. And when we talk, you can listen to other people or listen to podcasts or look at the television. A lot of people talk like this. And that way, there it goes again, we overbreathe again. So if you talk too much and you do the breathing which combines with that you breathe too much, then you kind of pump out extra air and then it intensifies your asthma. Point 5, chemical factors. Chemical factors are a huge part. I had a client and she always thought in a kind of specific time of the year, then she would get more asthmatic than normally. And this is normal because of the temperature, because of the moisture in the air, etc. But in her situation, she found out it had to do with the paint. And this is a really specific situation, right? We don't all have that. But if, for example, you have really, how do you call it, the soap to clean your clothes, and in most of the times when it's really cheap, then our skin takes the soap in, and from that point on we tend to breathe more because our body is not coping well with those chemicals. Our skin is like a big sponge. It takes in and out all kinds of stuff. So chemical factors are really important. Number 6, radiation. We're exposed to Wi-Fi almost all day now. But if you ever seen the test with the ants in the small box, and they put on top of the Wi-Fi, and in 1 or 2 days all the ants are dead. So I'm not saying we're ants. I'm not saying we're going to die from Wi-Fi. I am saying though that radiation, for example Wi-Fi or your mobile telephone, or in the future 5G, all those aspects have a big influence in how our cells function. And in most of the cases, when there's radiation going on, our body is not happy with that. You can also see it in nature. You can see how plants are behaving with radiation. So it's not if you don't see things that they're not there. So radiation most of the times creates that you breathe even more. So radiation creates that your asthma gets worse. That's why, not only because of the air, but that's why also when you're in the mountains or you're with the ocean, you feel a lot better. You're more in connection with nature, but there's also a lot less radiation going on. Number 7, too much eating. We eat all day. I eat all day. And more specifically, too much animal proteins. If you eat a lot of meat, if you eat meat with the lunch, if you eat with dinner, etc., try to cut that down. Not only for the animals, not only for the world, but also for your own health. But too much eating in general creates that you breathe more. And if you breathe more, your asthma will intensify. Point 8. Not enough movement. Our body is built to move. In other words, if we don't move, we kind of die. Perhaps you know the saying that still water starts to stink. So if you sit down too much, if you sit in a car or in traffic or behind the desk or on the couch or whatever, you need to move more, because then your body can function better. It's not intended to be that passive. You need to move. And you do not need to jump in the gym every day, but at least take 45 minutes of walking. You need to have at least 45 minutes to 1 hour movement a day, so your body can function properly and it's kind of complete in what it can do. And last but not least, number 9 is stress. Stress intensifies your asthma in a huge way. And I'm really fond of not only the findings, but also the things I heard about Dr. Buteyko. I had a lot of lessons of Masha Kutuzova. She was the right hand of Dr. Buteyko himself, so I'm really close to the source. But in the 50s there was a lot less stress than there is now in these days. So stress is a really important part of asthma intensifying. So those are the 9 reasons. And in the program I created of Probreathing, we're going to take all the points and we're going to help you out, get rid of them or lessen them. Exercises to treat your asthma. I will give 3 for now. Number 1 is that you understand how you can stop an asthma attack. But before we start this, understand this is a relative short video. So in this video I cannot do anything in detail. So really understand this. If you have problems with an exercise, then it's wise to move up the bar or ask a question in the comments below, or start the program, or here's a hint, at the end I will give you a bonus so you can get 7 days free access without any tricks, and so you can get into the program and learn a lot. There's a lot of hours work there and you can get for free. You only need to sit down and look, and you have only 7 days. So at the end of the 7 days your account will be automatically deleted. No marketing stuff, no nothing, just free for you now. Okay, so back at the exercises. Number 1 is how you can stop your asthma attack. So when you have a really severe asthma attack, the possibilities are that it's really difficult to get out of it at that moment. So at that moment, it is wise to take your medicine. I'm not a huge fan about medicine, but it's really good it's there. So in my opinion, it's really good that it is there, but in 80% of the times, it's, in my opinion, wise to do the natural way. But in some situations, you really need it, at least to get out of that situation. And then train your breathing, change your lifestyle so you can get rid of your asthma for good. That's my idea. So, how you can stop your asthma attack is kind of the same as the mini pause. In the link below, in the description box below, I will give the link. But the mini pause is something like this. You sit down, relaxed. If you're not in an asthma attack right now, you probably are not. So you can sit down and breathe just how it comes. Just let it go. So you breathe in, you breathe out. And remember, try to breathe as if you're not breathing. So try to be as relaxed as possible. And don't hear yourself breathing. It's natural that when you start doing breathing exercises, people tend to breathe even more and louder. Don't do that. Sit down, relax. And try to do this when there's a natural breathing coming out. So not pushing, not like this, just like natural. I close my nose with my hand. I only breathe through my nose. I only breathe through my nose. So I breathe in, I breathe out, and I close. And I count 1 second. 1. I let go. Breathe in, breathe out, close. 1. Is this doable for you? Check. Most of the times when you're in a relaxed state and not in an asthmatic state, this is no problem. So then you can move up the seconds. So you breathe still relaxed, you breathe in, you breathe out how it comes, close my nose with my hand, do 1, 2, and let go. 1, 2. Check if this is okay for you. So, you can try to intensify the seconds. Also, in the description box below, I will give the link and it says emergency breathing for anxiety. This is almost the same as what I'm telling you here now. So I think it's interesting to look at that video as well, so you understand the exercise. But what you can do now is you can repeat the seconds you just did. So for example, we ended with 2, right? 1, 2, breathe in, breathe out, repeat again, 1, 2, repeat again, 1, 2. So I'm going to do 3 repetitions. Then I'm going to move a second up. So we ended with 2 seconds. I'm going to do 3 seconds 3 times. I'm going to do 4 seconds 3 times. I'm going to do 5 seconds 3 times. And it will be interesting if you're sitting in a relaxed state to check where you come. A lot of people can do more than 15. But you need to know what your starting point is. You remember? Remember, the first thing you need to know for your treatment of asthma is to know your condition. But most people can do between 15 and 20 seconds in a relaxed state. So if you did this, you know, you can write it down with the date. You know, okay, when I'm relaxed, I can do, for example, 15 seconds. But when you get in an asthmatic state, so when you have an asthma attack, I think you will be happy when you can do 3 seconds. So at that moment, it's really clear that you're having an asthma attack. And then you need to kind of fight against the shortness of breath and try to, by fighting against the shortness of breath, try to increase the seconds. So for example, if I have an asthma attack right now, I'm breathing loud, right? So this is normal at this moment. 1. This can happen. You can have problems with 1 second when you have an asthma attack. You gotta fight. You gotta fight against that feeling. Then you're gonna move it up. Repeat it the 1 second 3 times. Then you're gonna move up to 2 seconds. Repeat it 3 times. Move up to 3 seconds. Repeat it 3 times. Most of the times when you pass 10 seconds, the asthma attack is gone. Exercise number 2. Exercise number 2 has to do with how do you breathe, or what is wise to breathe in a normal daily practice. There are a lot of people really do not know. So check yourself. What do you think a healthy breathing is? Does it involve your mouth? A lot of people think you need to breathe in through your nose, deep belly breathing, and breathe out through the mouth. If you ask me, this is not the right way. You breathe in and out through your nose. You only use your mouth for eating, talking, or emergency situations. So, for example, if there's a tiger coming, or a wolf, or there's a fire, or you need to fight, or whatever, you're in the fight, flight, or freeze mode, then you can breathe through your mouth. But it's emergency. In normal situations, when you're in traffic, when you're at home, when you're doing your work, whatever, you need to breathe in and out through your nose. Your diaphragm needs to do the work. If you want to know more about that, I suggest you look at the video how to relax your diaphragm. But your diaphragm needs to do its work, but you breathe in and out through your nose. So then you breathe in through your nose, you breathe out, and then you have a moment where you are with empty lungs, which they also call the valley moment. And the idea is you stretch that moment, how far you can do at that moment. So if I breathe in now, I breathe out, only through my nose, then I just wait with empty lungs. Then my body gives the signal, I need to breathe again. Okay, relax, breathe in again, breathe out again, and let it go. So your focus needs to be on the breathing out. So when I breathe in, this is okay. When I breathe out, here it comes. By letting go, by relaxing, I breathe out. So I relax, and by relaxing, I breathe out. Then I'm here with empty lungs, I just wait. Sometimes it can be 1 or 2 seconds. And then my body gives the signal again. I need to breathe. Okay, and I breathe in. And I breathe out. But in some situations it can be a couple of seconds. And in some situations you do not have time. You need to breathe in, out, etc. So this is what I call the flow breathing technique. So The idea is your focus is on the breathing out, so by letting go you breathe out, and then you try to stretch your valley moment. You try to be here in the now, consciously in the now, and you just wait. And do not count in your head, just let your body give the signal, okay, I need to breathe again, okay, then you breathe in, then you breathe out. This is the flow breathing technique. And the third exercise, or the third technique, I call the feather breathing technique. It came from the ancient samurai, and they had a feather with a rope they put under their nose, and they start to do the workout, and where the people, the guy which the feather went up and down too much, he could go out because he wasn't samurai ready. So this is perhaps thousands years old of knowledge. They already knew you do not need to breathe that much. You need to be here, present in the now, consciously present in the now. And your breathing needs to be relaxed, as if it's not really there. And if you hear or see yourself breathing a lot, then you need to train your breathing. So when you have asthma, most of the times you can hear or see yourself breathing, or you still breathe too much air in and out, but you do it kind of sneaky. So it's quiet. So I also saw on the internet some suggestions. You need to count the times you breathe in and out per minute. But what if you kind of breathe like Darth Vader? I don't know if you know the Star Wars guy. You know. So if you breathe, let's say 6 times a minute, you breathe in. I had many clients who did it that way. So, and they thought, I'm only breathing 6 times a minute, so I'm doing it right. Dennis? No. You're really breathing loud. So it has to do with the amount of air which goes in and out of your system, and it has to do with the frequency, but both of them, not separately. But if you need to make a choice, it is the amount of air which goes in and out of your system, for example, per minute. Because if I breathe like this, I breathe a lot of air in and out, right? I can do the same, but then I can do the same amounts of in and out breathing per minute as I just did before. So with the feather breathing technique, you can put your finger, because we don't have a feather in a rope, right? So we're going to put the finger under our nose, close our mouth, and then you can feel the warmth or the wind against your finger when you breathe in and out. And try to make that a little bit less. But as I said, a little bit, especially in the beginning. And when you're not completely sure you have asthma, then it's a good possibility you have a hyperventilation going on. Then it's even more important that you take it really easy. Because there's a difference between people with asthma and people with hyperventilation, especially in the beginning. And in my experience, people with asthma can learn this technique faster than people with hyperventilation. But to get back here, try to do this. Try to lower the amount of air which goes in and out of your system. Breathe, relax. Try to not or almost not hear yourself to breathe. And sitting here like this in the car, for example, is a little bit strange. But you can sit in your car like this. This is not too strange, right? If I'm driving like this. Or you can sit in a meeting like this. Or you can sit in the couch at home or behind the desk looking at or reading an email or whatever. You can do this. You can do this multiple times a day. But you need to understand that this third exercise, this third technique, can be in the beginning really difficult. So if you have difficulty with this, you get shortness of breath, you get a little bit anxiety, then it's wise to check your breathing condition again. If it's not too low. If it's below 15, then I suggest you get in contact with me to get a different way of approach. So check that out. Then you can do the flow breathing exercise, the exercise I gave you before. Okay. But first you need to check if the mini pauses, so you breathe in, you breathe out, close your hand with your nose, if this is okay for you. And also check if your diaphragm works. If it's too contracted, is it too much contraction there? You need to loosen it up before you can do the feather breathing exercise. The feather breathing exercise is a little bit more advanced. I made a separate video also about feather breathing. You can check it out on my channel. For now, I hope I gave you enough information about these simple exercises. So, an important part about this all is to keep yourself in balance. And what do I mean by that is to check out your breathing condition. In other words, this control pause. The name is control pause. And you need to check out that number. For example, when you do your control pause test and you have, for example, 15, but you do your breathing exercises, my suggestion is check your control pause after you do your breathing exercises as well. So if you had a control pause of, let's say, 15, and at the end of the breathing exercises it's down to 11 or 12, you're not doing the exercises properly. So this is really important. It's kind of an insurance policy for yourself. My suggestion is the mini pause is just to check out if it's okay for you. Then you can do the flow breathing exercise 5 times a day for 4 minutes. And you can combine that with the feather breathing exercise also. So you can do first flow breathing and then feather breathing. But in some situations, feather breathing is a little bit too difficult. Okay, then you just start with flow breathing exercise for 1 or 2 weeks and see what happens then. So if you like this video, you think it's helpful, I would appreciate you give me the like. If you want to know more about the subject, subscribe. And if you have questions or comments, let me know below on the video. Hope you have a nice day. Bye bye.